Hi there, everybody. If you are watching this, then you're like so many of us, in that you've dreamed of writing your own books and being an author since you were probably when you were a little person, and now you're not so little. Books are an incredible portal into other worlds. They can be informative, and many books are. But the ones that make our souls sing are the stories of love and adventure, mystery and fantasy that speak to something deep inside ourselves. Hi there. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Lisa Oliver, and as you can see from the screen, I'm sharing, and I haven't been able to find a way to reduce it, sorry, but I am an paranormal romance author. I have more than 100 titles to my name, and I've been supporting myself from my self-published works for 9.5 years. Now, one of the comments, many comments that I hear when, people ask you what you do, it's one of the first things we ask people. And I tell them I'm a self-published author. And then they'll say to me, oh, but I've always wanted to write a book, but life gets in the way. And then the thing that hurts me is they say, I'm too old now. You're not too old. I'm telling you that for nothing. You are never too old to write a book. And thanks to self-publishing, which is what I do, you can create your own ebook or a print-on-demand print copy through platforms like Amazon and Draft2Digital and places like that, and actually hold your book in your hands. And I probably should have had one handy, but I left it on my bookshelf. But imagine how that would feel. The thing you've got to remember is dreams are universally ageless, right? I mean, this face isn't pretty anymore. My body's not as cooperative with me as it used to be. I wear my fingerless gloves in the for a lot of the time, because here in New Zealand, as I'm recording this, we're in the middle of our winter. It's chilly. My arthritis can be a real killer when you combine chilly weather with wet weather. And this big chair is designed to support my back because, yep, the back aches too. But in this very chair, I have written and self-published over 100 titles. I never imagined my books might be picked up by traditional publishers, purely by virtue of the genre than anything else. But it is why I didn't try writing when I was younger. But now, since this, the whole internet explosion thing, I don't need to worry about whether or not my books are good enough for publishers anymore. I just have to worry about whether or not I can keep writing stories that my readers will enjoy. And, besides, when I was younger, I had children to raise, I had money to make. We all have a lot of commitments in our adult life. It's really weird because, well, it's not weird, but it's true. I didn't start writing my first book until my youngest child left home. I was married at the time. My husband would go out and work all day, and I was left at home watching the Food Channel. Now, just a little aside here, I don't like cooking, but I absolutely adore the Food Channel. I always have. But anyway, my marriage was also breaking down at the times, which is quite a common thing for women in their 50s now. Sad, but true. And, we weren't fighting or anything. We just stopped being interested in each other. And I think in my heart, I yearned for more. I went through all the crap that we go through as an older woman, and I still wanted to feel things. But I also didn't want to go back into the whole messy world of dating again. And that's one of the main reasons I started writing. I didn't believe I could do it. I thought any dialogue that I tried to write was stiff and it didn't sound natural. And it wasn't like I had a college degree or anything else like that. So how the heck could somebody like me write a book? I mean, the last full-time job I held, I was a taxi driver. And that's when I was pregnant with my youngest child. So that was many haircuts ago. The thing that I did do, and that did help me on my writing journey, was I do read a lot. I still do. I've been reading since I was 4 years old, and I have, I can, now that you've got Kindles and everything else, I can easily read a book a day, and I'm quite happy with that. And one day, when I was probably bored or whatever else, I started thinking, what if? And I'm sure many of you have probably been in that situation with books that you've read too. The book I was reading was short. It was in my genre, or a genre that I had recently found and really enjoyed. Believe it or not, I am now friends with the author of that very book, through social media, which just goes to prove that what a great level of social media can be. But the other thing that it did for me, being able to reach out to authors on social media, was for me to realize that these people behind these amazing stories that I was reading, they were just ordinary people. They were just normal people like you and me that just did something wonderful. They finished the stories they were writing. And I think that's really incredible, that regardless of how ordinary you might think your life is, or how you might think that you've got nothing to write about, all of us have an inbuilt creativity and sometimes wicked imaginations, which can be really good when it comes out on the page. My first book was a romance. I wrote about the love I wished I had in my life. I am now at book, I think it's 107. And according to the little thing you can see on my screen, Hal Silence, I think that's book 108, 107. I'm not sure, but it's 9.5 years. All of my books have the same sort of messages about being loved, about being accepted, about found family, about being true to yourself, which I think is absolutely incredible. But that's my thing. You might be really into true crime and mysteries. You might dream of far off worlds and love to create them in your mind. You could possibly believe in purple aliens who are coming to Earth and wonder what they've stumbled into. You imagine a totally different species of being turning up on Earth for the first time with some of the crap that we have that's going on. And if you can dream it, you can write about it. Now I can hear you saying, but, there are no buts except the one that you're sitting on in this chair or in your chair. There's no room for you on my chair. You have to sit on your own. You are watching my videos, so you have access to the internet. If you don't have a writing program like Microsoft Word, which is what I use, you can use Google Docs or Apple Pages if you're an Apple person. If you don't have a computer, use your tablet. You can even write on your phones now. I mean, face it, phones now are just mini computers, aren't they? Although I have written on my phone before when I had this idea when I was out having lunch one day, but I struggled to write on those tiny keyboards. I prefer my computer, but if you don't have a computer, that is not a barrier to writing your first book. But use what you have. Whatever it is, chances are, whatever it is you're watching me on, you can probably write on. So there you go. Now, the other thing, another but I get is if you struggle with spelling, or maybe you're even dyslexic, it doesn't matter. If you have a story to tell, you find a different way of telling it. Programs like Google Docs and Microsoft Word both have built-in microphone features whereby they will take your speech and convert it into text on the page for you. So you can talk your story as if you were telling a friend. And there it is. It just types itself all on the page. It's really quite incredible. And that's probably one of the best advice I'd give you for telling a story. Imagine you were telling it to a friend and then just write all that down on the page. You know how when you're telling a friend about a great movie you've seen or something like that, imagine your book writing the same way. Instead of worrying about grammar or are my chapters too long or too short or anything else, just write as if you were talking to a friend. And then you'll find that the people who read it will become your friends, because that's how you've spoken to them. At this point, you don't want to be thinking about publishing, self-publishing, print on demand, or anything else like that at all. There's no point in thinking about any of that unless you've got your book finished, because that's the big thing about it. That's the big adventure, writing the story. Everything else is around it. Yes, you have to market otherwise, because if nobody knows your book is there, then you can't sell it. But you just get the story done first. And when you've got that excitement about your story, then you can turn around And, you'll find that the marketing and publishing side of things is actually the easier part of the equation. Just time consuming, but easier. So what I want you to do is I want you to open a document on whatever device it is that you're on and type in chapter 1 and see where your fantastical brain will take you. I wrote my first book when I was 52 years old. I've been supporting myself, selling my stories with the sales of my stories. My marriage broke up when I was 53, and I will be 62 next month. And I often kid that I will die in this chair because I have so many stories to write, and I'll be writing easily until I'm 100 and probably still won't stop. So age is not a barrier to writing books. That is the core message of this video. The only thing that is stopping you from writing your book is that you haven't started it yet. And that is as simple as opening a text document file. Don't think about your audience. Don't think about the other people who may or may not read your stories. Just write the book you want to read and then come back to my channel and we'll talk about what you can do with it then. If you've got any questions at all, please ask them in the comments below. And as always, if you'd like to hit subscribe, that would truly help my channel. And I promise I'll try and make a better effort at uploading better videos more regularly. I have had about a 6 months break, I'm sorry, but sometimes life happens. In the meantime, please hug the ones you love, my friends, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.